This was a very stark contrast. I think it was a surprising win for Donald Trump, and I said going in that it may be a silver lining. The fact that they have 2 minutes, when you look at Joe Biden was not able to handle 2 minutes by himself.
No.
He does not do well with alone time. He does not do well without a backup band. And as much as Kristen Walker was trying to be the backup band, it didn't work. Final thing I will say is there was a recent fight in the UFC, actually, one of the only organizations that has seen actually a record increase in viewership because they allow people to express their own political views and they don't put a Black Lives Matter in the middle of their octagon. There was a recent fight. Brian Ortega fought in the UFC. He fought against a guy named Korean Zombie. Now, for those who don't watch fighting, just listen and I'll make sure that this makes sense to you. Brian Ortega had been out of fighting for, I believe it was a year and a half or 2 years. His last fight, he lost a title fight, and he lost pretty badly, and people said, well, you know what, that may be the end for him. After that fight, Brian Ortega switched camps. He fired a lot of his people. The only person that he kept was Henner Gracie, a good friend of the show, part of the Gracie family. And the question was, it's been a long layoff as their ring rust. How will Brian Ortega come back? Brian Ortega came back, watched the fight from last weekend, and it was possibly the most masterful performance we've ever seen in the 145 division in the UFC because he listened to the feedback, he listened to the criticism, he recalibrated, and he came back as a whole new fighter. Donald Trump tonight was the Brian Ortega of politics. Yeah. This was a new man who came back. He corrected course. It's a repeat of the second debate with Hillary Clinton, and I only wish that we would have a third, but Joe Biden has to get back to his basement. What do you think there, Macho Man Randy Gilday?
I definitely think you're right. I think this was a different candidate this time for getting reelected, and he did a great job. He held back when he needed to. He fought really hard, and he gave Joe Biden enough rope to hang himself. You and I were talking about whether he would actually make that correction between the debates. And we're like, I hope somebody's in his ear. I hope somebody is going to make him listen, and thank God that he did. The messages, there was a stark contrast, right? It was dark winter for Joe Biden. That's what he said. We're heading into a dark winter. Donald Trump said things are getting better. The economy is getting better. Jobs are getting better. It was a positive message for the country. And Joe Biden said, things are horrible. You need me to come in and save you. And Donald Trump's like, okay, what's your policy to save? Well, we're going to get rid of your tax plan. Okay, we're going to keep the economy closed. Oh, really? So you want to take tax dollars that we don't have to give to people that would do better if the economy was simply open?
You weren't here. He critiqued Donald Trump on tax dollars when Donald Trump was talking about how it was paid for by China, by the tariffs.
Well, no, I saw that. I was here for that.
And then Biden was like, I got $800 billion. So it's totally inconsistent.
It's totally inconsistent. He doesn't have a plan. Like, he keeps coming out and saying, we need to give them money. We need to give them money. No, you don't. Listen, open the economy, you idiot. You don't need to give them any more money. You need to open the economy and let the American people do what we do best, and that is go out and be entrepreneurs and innovate and create jobs.
Well, listen,
get out of our way.
I want to go to Quarter Black Garrett audio Wade's thoughts. We're going to read the costume winner at louderwithcrowder.com/mugclub as well as all of your chats after this. Yes. But I will say this. You've heard me say this before. What was the message tonight? Listen, if Republicans are the party of the rich, meaning, and I don't know what that means anymore because the rich, meaning big tech, big Hollywood, big Wall Street, big banks, they all endorse Joe Biden. But Republicans certainly are the party of business owners. Republicans are certainly the party of people with more money in their pockets or who want more money in their pockets. If Republicans are the party of the business-minded, if Republicans are the party of the upper middle class, which statistically they vote overwhelmingly, that's a big myth too. The ultra-wealthy, the Bill Gates, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world, they don't vote Republican.
No.
But the small business owners, the people who maybe do make $400,000 a year and aren't just holding public office, but have worked their way up and they manage small businesses and maybe they're making $500,000, maybe they're making $1 million. You shouldn't vilify them. You shouldn't hate them. Those people, the people who employ most of you watching, they vote Republican. So if the Republican Party, if Donald Trump is the party of the upper middle class wealthy, their incentive to have a voting base is to keep you wealthy. If Democrats are the party of the uber rich or the poor, or blacks on welfare, as Joe Biden said. Blacks on welfare, I'll make sure that more of them are on welfare. Guess what? It's in their best interest to keep you on welfare. If the Republican Party, what you heard tonight was a message of independence, look, we have to get the country back open. We have to get back to normal. Donald Trump was saying we have to get people back to their work. We have to get people to back to running their businesses. We have to get teachers back to teaching. We have to get the economy self-sustaining once again. If that's his message, the only way Donald Trump wins, the only way Donald Trump has a W next to his name in that column at the end of his presidency, hopefully 8 years, is guess what? if Americans are self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, it was like Game of Thrones, only the first half. Winter is coming. It's going to be a dark winter. Show us where you mess up the White Walkers, which, by the way, he looks strikingly like. The icy blue eyes and the hair,
uncanny.
and not to mention the demonic soul.
Yeah.
If the Democrat Party is a party of, you can't do it, it's a dark winter, and we're going to continue welfare, guess what? It is in their best interest to make it a dark winter. It is in their best interest to make sure that you need to stay on welfare. Yeah. It is as clear as humanly possible. And if people are listening to what they heard tonight, oh my God, I'm so grateful that actually, people often say this about the polls. Well, you know what? Actually, the swing state polls are closer to within the margin of error than at this point with Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. I'm glad to hear that, but I expect after tonight that we're going to see those tighten up quite a bit because people from Scranton are going, well, they can't even say, I know that asshole, because they don't. They've never seen him there. He left when he was in a baby carriage.
Watch Good Morning Mug Club live every Monday through Thursday at 10:15 Eastern.